Okay, this is solving and graphing one-step inequalities using multiplication and division. So this is stop 2, pit stop B for chapter 8. So our rules for solving one-step inequalities using multiplication and division are almost identical to addition and subtraction, except there's one difference, and that deals with the inequality symbol. So our first step is to cut it in half. Step 2, isolate the variable. Step 3, in order to do that, we're going to use the inverse operations to solve. Step 4, unlike in addition and subtraction where we just brought the inequality symbol down, we are going to have to determine the inequality symbol now with multiplication and division. So we're going to ask ourselves, do you flip it or does it stay the same? Alright, so the reason we're going to ask ourselves that is if you multiply or divide by a negative number, we are going to flip the inequality sign. So that's why when we get to step 4, we have to ask ourselves, am I going to flip it or will it stay the same? Alright, so if you multiply or divide by a negative number, we're going to have to flip the inequality sign. So let's go do some examples so you'll understand what that means. So number 1, example number 1, we're going to cut it in half. We're going to isolate the variable. So let's get b by itself. The opposite of dividing by 3 would be multiplying by 3. What I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. My 3's cancel. So I'm left with b, and then on this side I have 12. Because 4 times 3 is 12. Now, I need to ask myself, did I multiply or divide by a negative number? I multiplied by a positive 3, so no, I did not. So since I did not multiply or divide by a negative number, my inequality symbol will stay the same. So I will just bring my greater than symbol down. I don't need to flip anything because that 3 is a positive. So b is greater than 12 is my final answer. Now let's go ahead and graph these. Okay, so my circle is going to go on 12, and its b is greater than 12, so it does not include the number 12, so I'm going to leave it open. Now I want everything greater than that, so my arrow is going to point to the right. Remember, your arrow and your inequality point the same direction. Okay, number 2. Negative 4 times a is less than or equal to negative 16. So we're going to cut it in half, isolate the variable. Opposite of multiplying by negative 4 is dividing by negative 4. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. My negative 4's cancel. I'm left with a, and then negative 16 divided by negative 4. Well, 16 divided by 4 is 4, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Now I need to figure out my symbol. Did I multiply or divide by a negative number? Yes, I did. I divided by a negative 4. So since I divided by a negative number, I'm going to have to flip this inequality symbol. So instead of less than or equal to, I'm going to make it greater than or equal to. So I just reversed the inequality symbol, or flipped it. So my final answer is a is greater than or equal to 4. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this. Okay, I'm going to put my circle on 4. Okay, and I want everything greater than or equal to 4. So since it could equal 4, I'm going to go ahead and close it in and color it in. And I want everything greater than or equal to that. So here's my arrow, and it matches my inequality symbol. Now guys, you can always go and check your answer and just pick any number that you graphed on your line, like 7 is graphed. If I plugged a 7 in here, negative 4 times 7, plug in a 7 in for a, should be less than or equal to negative 16. Well, negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. and that is less than or equal to negative 16. So I know I did that right. So again, to check your work, you're just going to pick any number that is on your graph, okay, that's on your graph, and plug it in for your variable and check. So let's look at number 3. I'm going to cut it in half, isolate the variable. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 10 is dividing by negative 10. And do that to both sides. My 10s cancel. 40 divided by negative 10. Well, 40 divided by 10 is 4, and a positive divided by a negative is a negative. Left with n on this side. So now I'm going to ask myself, did I multiply or divide by a negative number? Yes, I did. I divided by a negative 10. So since I divided by a negative number, I'm going to flip or reverse my inequality symbol. So this was less than. Now it's going to be greater than. So I have negative 4 is greater than n. But remember, when we're graphing this, that's backwards. It's going to be hard for us to graph it. So let's reverse. So I've got n and negative 4. My alligator needs to be eating the negative 4. So let's make sure we write it the correct way. So I'm going to graph n is greater than, n is less than negative 4. Okay, so my numbers down here, -2, -1, 0, 1. I'm going to put my circle on negative 4, and I want everything less than negative 4, okay, less than negative 4, so I don't close in my circle because it doesn't include the number negative 4, and everything less than that would be to the left. My arrow and my inequality symbol point the same direction, so I'm good to go. Okay, number 4. R divided by 8 is greater than negative 2. I'm going to cut it in half. Isolate the variable. So the inverse operation of dividing by 8 is going to be multiplying by 8. Do that to both sides. My 8's cancel. I'm left with R. And negative 2 times positive 8 is negative 16. Did I multiply or divide by a negative number? No, I did not. That is a positive 8. So since I didn't multiply or divide by a negative number, I don't need to flip any signs. So I'm just going to copy it down. So R is greater than negative 16. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. I'm going to put my circle on negative 16. I want R is greater than negative 16, so since it does not include 16, I'm going to leave it open. Okay, and I want everything greater than that, so that's to the right on the number line. Remember, your arrow and your inequality should point the same direction. Okie dokie. Number 5, cut it in half. Opposite of, and we're going to isolate the variable, so the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. And do that to both sides. My 2's cancel. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. And I have S on this side. Did I multiply or divide by a negative number? No, I did not. So I don't need to flip anything. So let's copy down. Just bring the inequality symbol down. But remember, when we're graphing this, we like the variable on the left side, so let's just flip it around. So I've got S and negative 4. My alligator is eating the S. So let's make it eat the S again. So S is greater than or equal to negative 4. 3, negative 2, negative 1, and 0. You should already have these on yours. Okay, I'm going to put my circle on negative 4, and I want everything greater than or equal to negative 4. So since it could equal negative 4, I'm going to color it in. I want everything greater than that. Pointing the same direction, I'm good to go. Number 6, cut it in half. Opposite, excuse me, isolate the variable. So the opposite of multiplying by 8 is dividing by 8. I'm going to do that to both sides. My 8's cancel. I'm left with n. 32 divided by 8 is 4. And did I multiply or divide by a negative number? No, I did not. That is a positive 8, so I don't need to flip anything. So I'm just going to bring down that symbol, and that's my final answer. So let's go ahead and graph this. I'm going to have my circle on positive 4. And I want n is less than 4, so it does not include the number 4, so I'm going to leave it open. And I want everything less than that. And my arrow matches my symbol. They both point the same direction, so I am good to go. So this is how you solve and graph one-step inequalities using multiplication and division. The only thing that you have to remember to ask yourself is, do I need to flip the sign? And in order to flip it, that means I'm going to multiply or divide by a negative number. So don't forget to ask yourself that question.